But if I'm not mistaken, rank 1 I think was Shenzhen, rank 8 for novice was your kids, and I think your kids made it to semifinals.
Yep.
So your rank 8 team being rank 1 team, that's really cool. If I were you, I'd go tell them that. That was cool.
I thought it was much better. Anyway,
But that's hindsight. Everyone has that. If I just knew that one argument, just that one piece of evidence.
yeah, it's a holistic evaluation. So I think that.
I think this team was also here in spring. If I remember correctly. This is pretty cool. That's alright, I'll ask him at the end.
It's recording.
You stand here to make constructive 想干什么？随便去。
观众请拿手机都静音。
Okay. So judges ready? Opponents ready? 3, 2, 1. My pro-constructive speech starts now. We stand firmly on the pro side that public health service should expand access to gene editing technologies. First, some definitions. According to Collins, gene editing is a replacement of DNA in a gene or organism or cells. According to WHO, public health service is the science of protecting and improving the health of a community as by preventive medicines and control diseases. Framework. Save lives. It is the most important factor in today's debate because it is the main goal of public health services. Condition 1. Prevent humans from being harmed by diseases. Subpoint A. Cure diseases. Gene editing is of great interest in the treatment of human diseases. It's being explored in a research on a wide variety of diseases, like the single-cell disorders. It also holds a promise for many complex diseases, such as cancer, heart disease, and HIV infections. According to the U.S. Library of Medicine, there are over 10,000 genetic diseases. For now, the research is mainly focused on monogenetic diseases. There have been 14 monogenetic diseases that are currently being targeted. Dr. Ed Wasser has proved that gene editing can be useful to cure cancer in mice. It's proved it will be used to cure all the inherited diseases, to cure cancer, and to restore sight to people. Writing in Nature Methods, researchers in the US describe how they have used CRISPR to restore sight to blind mice. The researchers said, "We hope our finding will encourage others to determine all the effects of their CRISPR technologies and study different versions for the safest, most accurate way. Just as justice delayed is justice denied, so therapy delayed is therapy denied. This denial costs human lives, day after day." Subpoint B. Prevent diseases. Gene editing can not only cure diseases, but also prevent diseases in advance. John Harris, professor in science ethics, said that in 2016, that every year 7.9 million children, or 6% of the total births worldwide, are born with a serious disease when they suffer and deaths caused by such terrible single gene disorder. Also, in 2015, a girl named Laura has treated successfully to eliminate the signs of the leucemia that was killing her. Laura's treatment showed that the technology could have saved dozens of lives. In fact, CRISPR works so well that the first human trial involving the master has already begun. In China, it's being used to a gene called PD-1 in immune cells taken from individuals with cancer. Condition 2. Make food healthy. Subpoint A. Improve the productivity of plants. According to UN, there are 20% of the developing country population suffer from hunger, especially in Africa. According to data, in 2018, 60% of people in sub-Saharan Africa earn their living by working in the land, but they have low productivities. Africa's population is expected to reach 2.5 billion in 2050, so its food production will need to match its growth until then. So it will become more important than the climate change in 2050. Gene editing to make crops more abundant could be a lifesaver on a massive scale. Scientists are developing crops that enhance the growth, reduce the use of fertilizer. Actually, many crops have been successfully improved by the gene editing technology and tested in the field, including mushrooms with longer shelf lives. Subpoint B. Improve the quality of the food. According to UN, there are 11% of the world's population suffer from malnutrition. After gene editing, it can boost the nutrition value, like the soybeans produce healthier oil. Another example is the golden rice. It has vitamin A in its body. It is invented by the American Chinese company. It has been used in China and Philippines. This is our pro case. We focus on the save lives during the whole speech. I think save lives is the most important factor, so the judge vote for the pro side. Thank you.
Judges ready? Opponents ready? My time starts out. Today's motion is that public health service should expand access to gene editing technologies, and we as the con team stands firmly against the resolution. Definitions. Public healthcare system, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a service provided by the state rather than an independent commercial company that supply medical care. Expand access, according to Dr. Turner, refers to the expansion of availability where more people can use them in the context of public healthcare system. Our framework. The resolution means that if we as the country can either prove that private expansion of gene editing is better than public expansion, or expanding access in the future rather than right now mitigates the harm, then we urge the con ballot. Contention 1. Government issues. Subpoint A. Unsustainability of public healthcare system. According to the Congressional Budget Office in 2017, the federal debt of the U.S. is gradually increasing due to the medical healthcare programs. American Journal of Managed Care in 2017 writes that gene therapies in Europe have a launch price of $1.4 million, and the U.S. public healthcare system can't afford it since 10% of the population has a genetic defect. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget in 2014 has shown effects of federal debt, including lower national saving income, higher interest rate payment, decreased ability to respond to problems, greater risk of fiscal crisis. Even in a developed country like the US, the government expanding access to gene editing technologies would not be feasible since the healthcare system is deficit-based, and it would be even more unfeasible on developing countries. Thus, we should allow private sectors to expand access to gene technologies. Subpoint B, corrupted public healthcare. Researchers in the Department of Finance, Healthcare, Information, and Management Science in 2018 concluded that the corruption and social fraud takes up to 3 to 8% of healthcare expenditure. And another research found that 10%. Furthermore, the loss resulted from corruption has increased by 25% worldwide since 2008. Due to the waste and corruption above, we certainly should not expand access to gene editing right now by public sector. Condition 2, risk. Patrick Gangbao, professor of bioengineering, has stated that gene editing has great dangers. The natural Caesar will cut in unpredictable fashion and even make cell cancerous and cause different serious health problems. Even more, the study of unexpected mutations after CRISPR-Cas9 editing in people in 2017 tested gene editing mice for research to mutations. In addition to intended genetic edit, researchers found that more than 100 additional deletions and insertions with more than 1,500 single nucleotide mutations. Julie Cooley and Jeffrey Chamberlain in 2018 has found that 80% of healthy individuals that has T cells mediated immunity against staph and strep Cas9, which cause widespread of diseases, which are also trigger a significant widespread attack on human tissues. Thus, we should expand access when the risks are significantly reduced by conducting research. Condition 3. Alternative spending. The government's primary role is to reduce the inequality and guarantee the basic needs of everyone. Thus, the government's money should be spent on other means rather than expanding gene editing technology. Number one, sanitation. According to the United Nations in 2016, over 2.6 billion people on Earth are still living without access to necessary sewage and sanitation. Also, the WHO in 2018 say that poor sanitation is linked to the transmission of diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, hepatitis, typhoid, and polio. These kind of diseases. Number two, reduction of poverty. 767 million people are living below the international poverty line with less than $1.9 per person per day, according to the World Bank in 2016. And poverty is the leading cause of different kinds of diseases, while gene editing is exuberant inequality between rich and the poor. Even if gene editing technology isn't expanded by the government, it could still be maintained in the private sector, which allows the government's revenue to be allocated more efficiently on sanitation or poverty reduction. For all the reasons above, we urge the con ballot. Thank you for your time.
This is crossfire. Okay, I can ask the first question.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So now, I want to ask the first question. Do you agree that you will take some risk to achieve something good? Yes or no?
Of course, different kinds of
Yes.
things.
Okay. So judge, they have agreed to that they will take some risk. So their condition two is nonsense because Jenny has a risk, but it will success. Okay, your time.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you make a fallback?
Okay, fine.
On my second condition, I didn't mention about the risk. I mentioned it. I do mention about the risk.
Yeah, you
and
do
I
mention.
also mentioned about how gene engineering is very important.
Okay.
On this kind of video.
Okay.
Okay.
Jet, may I claim something?
Okay. I'll ask you.
So-
can you clarify your third contention?
Sorry, I don't have a second condition.
Sorry, I want to ask you a question here. Your GMO contention.
Mhm.
Can you explain its relevance towards our resolution today?
Okay, so Jet, this is an important question. I think that first I want to claim that everyone have the right to have good food and have the right to
I'm
eat.
sorry. Can I make a fallback?
Yeah, okay.
You're talking about food, but we're talking
Yeah.
about public healthcare
Yeah.
system to have more
So,
access
okay.
to gene technology.
So-
there's nothing in
No,
the
it's
resolution
extremely-
about food
I haven't
production.
explained that.
I'm sorry.
So I
So
want
go
to-
ahead. Yes.
I will explain that. First, I want to say that after gene editing, the crops will be more abundant and it can save more people. So there are many people, they are living in hunger.
Wait, but-
So we have to see that. And also, there are many people suffer from malnutrition. We will enhance the quality of the
I
food.
see your point. I see
Yeah,
your
you see
point.
that.
I'm talking about the relevance
Yeah.
between food and public health service.
Yes, public health services should, according to our definition, public health services should have the right to protect its citizens
Then
from.
what is your framework? What is your framework?
Our framework is saving lives. So this is our condition.
Saving lives, but is it?
It is
but,
related.
but however, food production to help public healthcare system. Public healthcare system has no responsibility towards.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
the
I have to say that.
GMO.
I
Okay.
have said that after
Okay.
gene editing, there will be less people suffering.
Okay, let me ask
Okay,
you a
my
question.
time to ask you a question.
Yes.
So do you think that we can rely on the current technology to treat gene diseases?
We can.
Yes or no? Yeah, you can.
We
but-
can define depend
Okay,
on it
excuse me.
eventually.
Excuse me.
And actually, I
Okay,
think you
fine.
misunderstand our framework of the debate
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
We are saying that we should either prove that gene editing technologies expanded in
Mhm.
private sector is better than public sector at the
Okay.
moment, or if we can prove that expanding access in the public
Okay,
sector
I
in
get
the future
I
is good,
understand.
which is talking about a time frame,
First, I
that
want to-
works. I think you misunderstand our
First, I want to
framework
say
of
that
the debate.
there is
Go
no
ahead.
time frame in today's debate.
There is
They are
time frame debate.
They are nothing
That's-
talking about in this debate. They are nothing talking about
I'm sorry.
now, future, past.
I'm sorry, according to NSDA rules of public foreign debates, it said
Yeah.
that the resolution should be relevant to the time frame as
okay,
a status
that's fine,
quo.
that's fine.
In which,
Even-
when we're
just-
talking about
just-
time frame of the future,
Even though
which
the
is
time
now.
frame is now, we are still winning because there are people dying. They are not solving people, but today there are
We
people
are seeing
dying.
people by supporting these private access sectors.
And
But how are you seeing people through this
Excuse
kind
me,
of-
I can
Yes,
answer.
go ahead, go
I
ahead.
can answer the question.
Go ahead.
So why is private health services related to the topic? I cannot get anything from your speech that private health is
Judge,
related.
think about it. The resolution itself saying that we should expand access to gene
Yeah.
editing technologies in public health service.
Yeah.
Then there could be the constantly proposing that gene editing technology should be expanded in the private sectors. That's what
Okay.
we're talking about.
Okay.
Is there any
So
problem?
how can you? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, 30 minutes.
So second.
30 minutes.
30 seconds, sorry.
By that time, I have to make an announcement to original oratory. So original oratory，原创演讲同学现在可以前往比赛赛场，我们的通知已经贴出来了。205、206教室。
Okay, time's up.
Okay. So, judges ready? Opponents ready?
Yes.
My rebuttal speech starts Now, okay, so as the second speaker, first I would like to rebut their framework. Their framework is claiming that if they can prove private health services can do more benefits rather than public health services, that they win. But actually, I want to claim is that according to the definition of public health service, it is to improve and maintain the health condition of the community. However, private health services cannot guarantee for this part. And for the contention ones, I've been talking about government issue. However, what I want to claim is that first, government issue of corruption is only in a small range, and second, we are still saving people's life, and public health services should be controlling all the people's life and their health conditions. So what they're saying about is totally not true, because the government wouldn't throw their citizens away and don't care about them. And also, public health services should be caring about their people rather than corrupting their money to do something other. And in their contention too, they've been talking about the risks of gene editing technology, and I have several responses to that. First, risk is common. Every technology has risk when it is first put into use into public. It is about whether you want to make it safe or not. Expanding access provides chances for further research and innovation development. There will be a better outcome. For example, there are questions about the risk of penicillin in mid-1900s, but the scientists dare to try. The first human trial has come out positive in 1942, and now it turns out to be a breakthrough treatment. And they have been also talking about causing cancer. However, I have two responses to that. CRISPR doesn't cause cancer. Other methods could be identified. The lead researcher on the Cambridge team, Jesse Table, said in a statement released along with the publication of the article in Nature Research, said that his team wasn't claiming that CRISPR was dangerous. Table maintained that gene editing approach is clearly going to be a major tool for use in medicine, adding the ways to overcome the potential problems identified in his team's research could be found. And also, genetic editing actually solves cancer. According to Jianhua Luo, a professor of pathology from the University of Pittsburgh, studies of animals suggested that CRISPR worked more efficiently in cancer cells rather than normal cells. And also, there are two more other ways genetic editing actually help to fight cancer. First, cures. A study from UC San Francisco found that gene editing slowed the growth of cancer cells in the lab. Scientists concluded that targeted gene editing is more effective in typical cancer drugs which have toxic side effects. Second, testing researchers at Christiana Care Health System found that doctors with gene editing could create personalized cancer treatment plans by simulating mutations of different patients' DNA in the lab. This not only means that they could diagnose cancers much earlier, but it also means that, according to the journalist Meredith Newman, said that they could streamline treatment for patients with later stages of cancer. An example would be ovarian and breast. Okay, in their container 3, they have been saying about other alternatives to gene editing technology. But actually, we can nowadays there are still cancer, HIV, and other diseases which cannot be caused. And we have evidence to prove that gene editing can actually solve these problems. For example, researchers have infused a person's blood with gene editing, aiming to treat the service inherited disease. The Associated Press reported on November 15, 2017, that a 44-year-old patient has a rare metabolic disorder called Hunter syndrome. And the patient inserted with gene editing technology, and then it cured his disease. And also, there is a lot of active research going on using CRISPR technology to fix diseases, like muscular dystrophy or cystic fibrosis or Huntington's disease. And there are all diseases that have known genetic causes. So the only best way to solve those genetic causes is to use genetic editing technology. And that's why, that's my rebuttal. Thank you.
Judges ready? Opponents ready? Yeah, my time starts now. So in the crossfire, our opponents has asked about how is private access relevant to the topic. And I would like to show you that it's our opponent's burden to first prove that we should expand by the public sector, and second, they have to prove that we should expand access right now. And first of all, I would like to clarify our framework. We are not saying that we should expand access to gene editing technology. We are saying that the private sector expanding gene editing technology or expanding gene editing technology later is better. So first, in their first contention, we indeed agree with our opponent that gene editing technology could indeed cure many diseases, but the high cost shown in our constructive speech made expansion by the public sector unfeasible and ineffective. According to Mark Trinchin, director of the MIT's New Drug Development Paradigms, the cost of CRISPR isn't coming down, and insurers can't pay for it. Thus, the resolution will collapse insurance industries due to great costs.
Second, the debt of healthcare system. Currently, U.S. debt to GDP ratio is 105.4% in 2017, according to Trading Economics. The World Bank has shown that every percentage above 77% of debt to GDP ratio would reduce 0.017% of economic growth, which shows the unsustainability of public health service developing gene editing technology. Furthermore, our opponents have stated that our corruption contention isn't important and is invalid. But however, they have given no specific evidence. So, take India for example. India is one of the 30 most corrupt countries in the world. It's one of the 30 most corrupt countries in the world. A quarter of the respondents had paid bribes for health services. The key actor to corruption in this sector across zones are allegedly doctors, which is 77%, followed closely by hospital staff, which is 67%, says the report. Researchers in the Department of Healthcare in 2012 found that 90% of Indians went to private hospitals rather than public, showing the corruption of public healthcare system in India. Furthermore, our opponents have stated that there are no time frame mentioned in the resolution, but however, this is illegitimate. First, the resolution is the focus of the debate and is designed to provide predictable ground for argumentation on both sides. For it to be predictable, it has to be assumed that it to happen immediately, not at some random time that the protein chooses. Second, imagine if the content went first and said that gene therapy won't work for another 25 years. Then the pro said, okay, we'll expand access in 25 years. This is unfair and unpredictable, hence the resolution must be assumed in action immediately. Third, changing the time frame of the resolution violates the topic and violates industry rules against having plans. The pro team can only defend the general advocacy of the resolution as it exists. They cannot modify to provide specific implementation. Furthermore, our opponents rebutted to our corruption contention, saying that it's not important, but I've shown that it's very important with evidence, as I previously in my rebuttal speech. Also, our opponents have stated that risk exists everywhere, and we agree with that. So, since risk exists in gene editing technologies, we should expand research to significantly reduce the risk. And our opponents has mentioned that we have to expand access in order to expand research. But however, I would like to say that's not true. To expand research means to expand the research on the specific topic, not expanding access generally to the public. We should expand research and which significantly reduce the risk, and then we should expand access to the public. Third, they have said on their contention that we are trying to find alternatives for gene editing technologies. But however, our opponents has clearly misunderstood our point. We are not saying that we're finding alternatives to our gene editing technology. We are saying that we could spend the money allocated to gene editing technology, if allocated, on more important things, such as improving sanitation and reducing poverty, which we have shown in our constructive speech is much more important. And our opponent didn't respond to that. And in NSD rules, a drop argument is considered to won by the team proposed it. Thank you.
Okay, so judges ready, opponents ready, I'm starting now. Okay, so my first question is, do all technologies today have perfect results?
Excuse me?
Do all the technologies today have perfect results?
What do you actually mean by this question? What do you mean by perfect, the definition of perfect?
Like, I mean that all the technologies today have risks, right?
Yes, we agree with that.
So that's why we should expand access towards this technology, and then the risk will be lower,
But
right?
however, do you believe that do you believe that the risk of some technologies are much higher than others? And first of all, gene editing.
that's why we should-
Please let me finish. I'm responding to your point. So we should expand research and conduct research to significantly reduce the risk, and then expand access to the public, which makes the public accessing gene editing technology much safer in the future. Do you agree with that point?
No. Okay, so
So can I ask you a question? So you have stated in constructive speech that you could make food more healthier and more available to the public. But however, do you believe that the private sector could also accomplish this?
private sector can also accomplish like food. I have already rebutted in my rebuttal is that we give definition of public health service is to improve the health of a community. And also we have
Wait.
evidences to prove that. Most food agencies in the US, like FDA, are considered public health agencies. And the WHO said that our agriculture is a public health good service.
No,
so we claim that agriculture is actually related to public health service since agriculture is related to the health condition of the public. Okay.
Wait, so first of all, so where do your definition of public health service come from?
Public health services, according to WHO. Our public health service is a science and practice of protecting and improving the health of the community. Okay, now it's my time to ask you a question. Do you agree that the only way to minimize the cost of gene editing technology is that you allow more people to have access to it?
No, because the best way to minimize the cost is to conduct research which significantly lowers the cost. And on your GMO contention again, so you have stated that we could use gene editing technology to produce more healthy food. But however, do you believe that GMOs already exist right now?
Yeah, I admit that GMOs are existing right now, but I have already proved in our constructive as well as rebuttal that gene editing on crops can have much more effectiveness, and I have evidence to prove that. Is first, gene editing to make crops more abundant and resilient, and also gene editing, scientists are developing crops with traits that can enhance their growth, reduce the need for fertilizers and pesticides, boost their nutritional value, and even make the plants more hardier during droughts and hot spells.
But do you not believe that GMOs, that currently genetically modified food, can already accomplish what our opponent have stated? And currently, 90% of US population is using GMOs.
Okay. So, judges ready? Judges ready? Opponents ready? So my pro summary 3, 2, 1 starts now. Okay, first about framework. As during the whole debate, I think the judge should choose our framework, as they haven't talked about any factor which is more important than saving lives. We consider that saving life is the most important factor in today's debate. And about their framework, we can win even if you choose their framework. First, about private and public. Private has a smaller range than public. You have to agree with that. Like, private can only cure the little diseases, but public, as it is a public health, it can cure all the people in the country. This is the benefit of public health than private health. And about now and future, I said, okay, today's topic is about now. So that's why we should win this debate, because now there are people dying. They are not stopping them. They are not saving them. That's why they are losing, and we are winning. And about our conditions, our condition 1 about curing disease. We have 2 sub-points about curing and preventing disease. During the whole rebuttal, they didn't say a word about preventing. Preventing is most important. It's important sector that it is before you get the disease, you can prevent the disease. They're only about curing disease. They say that they have high cost, high risk. That's why we should expand that. After expanding, the cost will be lower, the risk will be lower. That's why we will expand that. And also about our condition 2, Judge, please remember, during the whole debate, they haven't talked a word about our agriculture except for crossfire. So they dropped this whole point in their rebuttal, as they have claimed that dropping a point will lose. They are the side, they will lose this debate. And also about the crossfire, about GMOs, we have claimed that GMO food, why we are still expanding now, because they are still people in hunger. Our pro-side are saving lives of them, so it is our mission to expand public health services to them. That's why we're still expanding. So we have expanded. That's why I think the judge should all vote for the pro-side thing.
We have to pause for a couple of seconds to make sure everyone gets the data.
Okay.
Not influence yours. 后面同学们，请尽快就座，我们现在正在比赛，大家不安进来，就像我们的这个比赛正常进行。已经现在的进会找队坐下，保持安静，我们比赛还要继续进行啊。学生们大概10秒钟时间，快坐下，来。来，同学们迅速找座位，赶紧的，赶紧的。 突然来这么多同学。赶快坐下。
both sides.
来，同学们尽快落座。I'm sorry for that. They forgot to invite a bunch of students to work to the final. That's for the purpose of like educational.